The morning was calm when they arrived. No one expected anything unusual. The massive silver ship hung in the sky above New York City, its surface reflecting the early sunlight like a mirror. People stopped and stared, their phones raised, capturing the moment that would change everything. Ambassador Huang Zhezong stood at the center of the United Nations conference room. He was tall, with sharp features and eyes that seemed to hold centuries of knowledge. Behind him, 3 alien representatives waited quietly. Their skin was a pale blue, almost transparent, with intricate silver patterns that looked like living circuits running just beneath the surface. "We come in peace," Zhezong translated, his voice smooth and confident. "The Galactic Confederacy wishes to establish a meaningful relationship with Earth." World leaders leaned forward. The American president, the Chinese premier, the Russian president, all watched with a mix of excitement and caution. Cameras clicked. Reporters scribbled notes. This was a moment that would be in history books forever. Park Yuna watched from the press section. Something felt wrong. As a senior investigative journalist for a global news network, she had learned to trust her instincts. While everyone else was captivated by the aliens' promises of advanced technology and interstellar cooperation, she noticed the small details. The aliens moved too perfectly. Their smiles were too precise. When they spoke, their translator devices worked without a single mistake, which seemed impossible given the complexity of human languages. That afternoon, Yuna began her investigation. She started collecting missing children reports from around the world. Something strange was happening. In the 3 weeks since the aliens' arrival, child disappearances had increased by 237%. Cities across 6 continents reported similar patterns. Children vanishing without a trace, mostly between the ages of 8 and 14. She created a massive digital map, connecting dots between seemingly unrelated cases. Red pins marked each disappearance. The pattern was clear, but no one wanted to see it. Local police departments gave her the runaround. Budget cuts, they said. Limited resources, they explained. But Yuna knew better. She had won awards for uncovering government cover-ups. This felt different. This felt bigger. Her first breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Miguel, a taxi driver in Sao Paulo, had been talking to her for weeks. His daughter Sofia had disappeared 2 weeks after the aliens arrived. She was walking home from school, he told Yuna during their late-night video call. There were no signs of struggle. It was like she just vanished. Similar stories emerged. A school in Tokyo, a neighborhood in London, a small town in Canada. Children gone. No evidence. No traces. Yuna's research revealed something more disturbing. The disappearances clustered around areas with significant alien diplomatic presence. New York, Tokyo, London, Sao Paulo, Berlin. Each city had hosted high-level meetings with the Galactic Confederacy representatives. She compiled her initial report, hands shaking slightly. The evidence was circumstantial but compelling. Something was very wrong. That night, as she reviewed her notes, a message appeared on her secure communication channel. An anonymous source. Military intelligence. The message was brief. Check the stasis technology patents filed by Galactic Confederacy in the last 6 months. Yuna realized this was just the beginning. Whatever was happening, humanity was about to face a truth more terrifying than anyone could imagine. The alien ship still hung in the New York sky, silent and waiting. Kim Daehan sat in the darkroom, surrounded by screens and maps. The UN Special Investigative Unit was unlike any team he had ever led. They were a mix of scientists, military personnel, and investigators from around the world. Each of them had a personal reason to find the truth. On the main screen, a holographic map showed the locations of missing children. Blue dots represented confirmed disappearances. Red dots indicated potential alien activity. The pattern was no longer a coincidence. "We intercepted something," said Lee Sarah, the team's communication specialist. Her fingers flew across multiple keyboards, decoding encrypted alien transmissions. It's not a complete message, but it's enough. Daihan leaned forward, the screen filled with strange symbols that slowly translated into English. The words made his blood run cold. Resource extraction protocol. Human child unites. The message continued. Each word revealed a more horrifying truth. The children weren't just missing. They were being harvested, used as some kind of biological energy source. The aliens called them units, not children, not humans, just resources to be processed and consumed. Dr. Park Jinwoo, the team's lead scientist, broke down the technical details. "It's worse than we thought," he said, pointing to a complex diagram. "These stasis chambers don't just keep children dormant. They actively extract some form of biological energy. It's like they're living batteries." Sarah pulled up more intercepted communications. She had been working nonstop, tracking every possible communication channel. "Look at this," she said, highlighting a section. "They have processing facilities across multiple star systems. Earth is just one of many sources." Daihan felt sick. Millions of parents around the world were searching for their children. And now they knew the terrifying truth. The children weren't dead. They were worse than dead. A hidden network began to form. Parents who had lost children started connecting. Online forums, secret meetings, underground communication channels. They shared information, tracked leads, and supported each other. In a small basement in Tokyo, a group of parents met secretly. Maria from Brazil, Tom from Canada, Lei from China. They had nothing in common except their missing children and their growing rage. "We can't wait for governments," Maria said, her voice hard. "We need to act." A new resistance was forming. Not just a government operation, not just a military response, but a global human movement driven by parents' love and a burning desire for justice. Daihan's team worked around the clock. They mapped alien facilities. They decoded communication protocols. They began to understand the scale of the operation. One intercepted message revealed a shocking detail. The aliens had been harvesting children from Earth for decades, slowly, carefully, always staying under the radar. The recent diplomatic mission was just the final stage of a long-term plan. "How many?" Daihan asked Dr. Park. The scientist's response was chilling. "Estimated between 2.3 and 3.7 million children over the past 50 years. The room went silent. Outside, the alien ship still hung in the New York sky. But now, it wasn't a symbol of wonder. It was a promise of vengeance. Humanity was about to wake up, and the galaxy had no idea what was coming. Dr. Lee Sungman's laboratory looked like something from a science fiction movie. Screens covered every wall. Robots moved between complex machines. But this was no ordinary research facility. This was humanity's last hope. When the truth about the alien plot broke, governments around the world did something unprecedented. They combined every scientific resource, every research center, every technology lab. The goal was simple: fight back. Sungman stood in front of a massive holographic display. Lines of code and technical diagrams danced around him. He had been working for 3 days straight, surviving on coffee and determination. "We're close," he muttered to himself. The alien technology they had recovered was both amazing and terrifying. Pieces of destroyed alien equipment, collected from various crash sites and captured ships, were now spread across multiple research centers. Each piece was a puzzle, each circuit a potential weapon. His team had already made breakthroughs that would have taken decades under normal circumstances. Faster than light communication systems, energy shields, weapon technologies that could pierce alien defenses. In a secure facility in California, military engineers worked alongside scientists. They were turning alien technology into human weapons. Every hour counted. Every minute was critical. Around the world, similar scenes played out. In Moscow, a team of quantum physicists cracked an alien communication encryption in just 72 hours. In Tokyo, Engineers developed a new type of plasma shield. In New Delhi, computer scientists created advanced AI systems that could predict alien technological patterns. The world had changed. Countries that used to be enemies now worked together. The United States shared research with China. Russia collaborated with European nations. Everyone understood the stakes. "We're not just defending ourselves," Sungman told his team. "We're fighting for every child they've taken." A breakthrough came unexpectedly. While analyzing a small alien communication device, one of Sungman's junior researchers, Kim Ji-ho, discovered something remarkable. The device contained more than just communication protocols. It held navigation data, information about alien ship movements, star maps of their processing facilities. "This changes everything," Ji-ho said, her hands shaking as she transferred the data. The information revealed something shocking. The aliens weren't just harvesting children from Earth. They had been doing this to multiple species across different star systems. Humanity wasn't alone in its suffering. Military strategists began planning. If they could use this navigation data, they could strike back, not just defend, not just resist, but attack. In underground bunkers and secret military bases, a new kind of army was forming. Not just soldiers, but scientists, engineers, people who understood that the real war would be fought with technology and intelligence. Sungman looked at the latest test results. A weapon that could disable alien ship systems, a communication method that could bypass their advanced encryption, defensive shields that could protect entire cities. Humanity was transforming. From a species that had been unaware of galactic threats to a civilization preparing for total war. The alien ship still hung in the New York sky. But now, it didn't look like a symbol of power. It looked like a target. "We're ready," Sungman said quietly. "We're coming for our children." The stealth ship moved silently through space. Captain Kang Ji-woo sat in the command chair, her hand steady. Around her, the best team Earth had ever assembled waited in tense silence. They had a specific target, a processing facility located in a star system 3 light-years from Earth. Intelligence suggested hundreds of human children were being held there. "Final systems check," Ji-woo ordered. Lieutenant Park Min-soo ran through the checks. Prototype energy shields, alien tech weapons, stealth systems that could make their ship invisible to most scanning technologies. Everything was ready. The facility looked like a massive metal structure floating in the darkness of space. From a distance, it seemed dead. But Ji-woo knew better. Thousands of stasis chambers were hidden inside those metal walls. Each chamber contained a child. Each child was a prisoner. "Approaching target zone," said Navigator Kim Soo-jin. "No detection systems have picked us up." Ji-woo remembered why she was here. Her own nephew had disappeared 2 months ago. Like thousands of other children, he was just gone. Now, she had a chance to fight back. The attack began quietly. Precision laser cuts disabled the facility's outer defenses. Their stealth technology worked perfectly. No alarms, no warnings. Inside the facility, everything was clinical and cold. Long corridors filled with rows of stasis chambers. Each chamber contained a child. Some looked like they were sleeping. Others seemed pale and weak. "Rescue teams, move in," Ji-woo commanded. Specialized rescue units entered through multiple entry points. They knew exactly how to disconnect the stasis chambers. Each rescue was careful. Each child was precious. But they weren't alone. Alien defense systems suddenly activated. Robot guards emerged from hidden compartments. They were fast, deadly, designed to protect the resource units at all costs. "Combat team, engage," Ji-woo shouted. The human team's prototype weapons worked perfectly. Plasma rifles cut through alien defenses. Energy shields blocked incoming attacks. For the first time, humans were fighting back with technology that matched the aliens. Lieutenant Choi Hyun led the combat team. His movements were precise. Every shot counted. They weren't just fighting. They were rescuing children. The battle was intense but short. Human technology, developed in just a few months, proved superior. The aliens hadn't expected such a rapid advancement. Within 30 minutes, they had secured the facility. 217 children were rescued. Some were awake. Some were still in deep stasis. Medical teams worked quickly to stabilize them. A young girl, no more than 10, looked at Captain Zhu. Her eyes were different. Something about her seemed changed. "We're taking you home," Zhu said softly. As they prepared to leave, Zhu gave the final order. The facility would be destroyed. No trace would remain. A massive explosion lit up the darkness of space. Another alien processing center was gone. This was more than a rescue mission. This was a message. Humanity was fighting back, and they were just getting started. The United Nations Assembly Hall was packed. Every seat was filled. Every screen was on. The world watched as President Choi Min-jung stepped up to the podium. She looked small, but her voice was powerful. The alien diplomatic team sat just meters away. Their blue-silver skin looked pale under the bright lights. They expected another negotiation, another chance to explain, another opportunity to control the situation. They were wrong. "We know what you've done," President Choi began. Her words were simple, direct, each sentence cut like a knife. She spoke about the children, not as statistics, but as individuals. She named them, showed their pictures, told their stories. Sophia from Brazil, 12 years old, loved soccer, wanted to be a doctor. Michael from Canada, 9 years old, collected comic books, helped his grandmother with gardening. Akiko from Japan, 11 years old, played violin, dreamed of traveling the world. The alien representatives tried to interrupt, but security stopped them. "These are not resources," Choi continued. "These are children, our children, humanity's future." She revealed everything: the intercepted communications, the processing facilities, the decades-long harvesting operation. Each revelation was backed by solid evidence: decoded transmissions, recovered technology, survivor testimonies. The world watched in complete silence. Other world leaders began to speak: the Russian president, the Chinese premier, leaders from Africa, from Europe, from every continent. They told similar stories: children taken, families destroyed. But this wasn't just an accusation. It was a declaration of war. Behind the scenes, something remarkable was happening. Earth's best diplomats and intelligence agents were working overtime. They weren't just exposing the aliens. They were building alliances. On communication channels the aliens didn't know about, Earth reached out to other species, other civilizations that had suffered similar fates. The Krelvax from the Andromeda sector, the Silicon Collective of Proxima, the Coral Kingdoms of the Outer Rim. Each had lost children. Each had been silenced. Each had been told resistance was impossible. Now, they had hope. Alien communication networks began to break down. The Galactic Empire's carefully constructed image of peaceful exploration was collapsing. Every transmission, every diplomatic channel, every piece of their carefully built facade was falling apart. "We are not asking for permission," President Choi said in her final statement. "We are telling you. This ends now." The alien representatives looked shocked. They had never encountered a species that fought back like this. Most civilizations they encountered would negotiate, would compromise, would accept their fate. Humanity was different. In the audience, parents of missing children watched. Some cried. Some looked angry, but most looked hopeful. For the first time, someone was speaking for their lost children. The diplomatic war had begun, and humanity was winning. Outside the UN building, people cheered. News networks broadcast the speech globally. Social media exploded with support. The alien ship still hung in the New York sky, but now it looked less like a symbol of power and more like a target. Humanity had found its voice, and the galaxy was about to listen. The war room was silent. Commander Kang Hyunjin looked at the massive holographic display. Hundreds of blue dots represented human ships. Red dots showed alien fleet positions. This was total war. Dr. Park Junho stood beside her. His latest weapon system would change everything. A neural link technology that could disable alien ship systems from a distance. No more traditional fighting. This was a new kind of warfare. Activate the network, Hyunjin ordered. Across multiple star systems, human ships prepared. They weren't just a military. They were a global force united by one purpose: rescue the children, stop the aliens. The first strike was calculated, not random, not emotional, completely strategic. They targeted the aliens' communication hubs, their supply lines, their command centers. Each location was chosen with precision. Each attack was designed to cause maximum disruption. The neural link weapon worked perfectly. Alien ships suddenly went dark. Their advanced technologies became useless. Entire fleets were disabled in seconds. "It's working," Junho said, watching the screens. His fingers moved quickly, tracking the system's performance. Rescue teams followed immediately. Where ships were disabled, ground teams moved in. They freed more children, gathered more intelligence, destroyed more alien infrastructure. This wasn't just a military operation. It was a rescue mission. The aliens had never faced an enemy like humanity. Most species they had conquered simply gave up. Humanity did the opposite. They adapted. They fought. They refused to be beaten. Communication networks across the galaxy lit up. Other enslaved species watched. If humans could fight back, maybe they could too. In space, human ships moved like a coordinated machine. Each ship knew its role. Each crew was prepared. They had trained for months, studied alien technologies, developed counter-strategies. Commander Hyunjin's strategy was simple: hit fast, hit hard. Never give the enemy time to recover. Earth's technological advancement was shocking. In just months, they had developed technologies that took other species centuries to create. Adaptive shields, quantum communication systems, weapons that could disable entire fleets. But it wasn't just technology. It was something more. Every soldier knew why they were fighting. Every pilot remembered the children. Every technical team worked with a purpose bigger than themselves. Alien communication channels were filled with confusion. Their carefully built empire was falling apart. They had never considered the possibility of total resistance. Second wave approaching, a young officer called out. More alien facilities were targeted. More children would be rescued. The humans were methodical, precise, unstoppable. Dr. Junho watched the neural link system work. Entire alien fleet sections went dark. Their most advanced technologies became useless. "We're winning," he whispered. Outside the war room, a massive holographic display showed the expanding human operations. Blue dots spreading across star maps. Red dots shrinking, disappearing. The aliens had made one critical mistake. They thought children were just resources. They forgot that every child had a family, and humanity would never stop fighting for its children. The war had truly begun, and humanity was just getting started. Yoon Sarang stood in the special training center. She was only 15, but she was different. The aliens' experiments had changed her, changed all of them. The rescued children were not victims anymore. They were warriors. When the first group of children was recovered, doctors noticed something strange. The kids who had been in alien stasis chambers were different. Their brains worked differently. They could do things no normal human could do. Sarang could connect with technologies just by thinking about them. She could see computer systems like they were maps in her mind. One touch, and she could understand everything. Her team was special. 12 children, all under 16. Each with a unique ability. Each transformed by the alien experiments. Michael could disrupt electronic systems with his mind. Akiko could communicate across vast distances without any device. Diego could read complex alien languages instantly. They called themselves the Quantum Kids, and they were humanity's secret weapon. Their first mission came quickly, an alien communication hub that human ships couldn't easily reach. Traditional military strategies wouldn't work, but the Quantum Kids could. Sarang closed her eyes. Her mind reached out. She could see the alien facility like it was right in front of her. Every system, every security protocol, every hidden pathway. "We're going in," she told her team. They didn't need ships. They didn't need traditional weapons. Their minds were the most powerful tools. Michael disrupted the facility's security systems. Akiko jammed their communication channels. Diego translated their secret codes, and Sarang guided them, seeing everything. The alien facility went dark. No alarms, no warnings, just complete shutdown. When human rescue teams arrived, they found something incredible. Not just disabled systems, but complete maps of alien operations, hidden communication channels, secret processing facilities. The Quantum Kids were more than soldiers. They were intelligence gatherers, weapon systems, living technologies. The aliens had tried to turn children into resources. Instead, they had created something they couldn't control. Each of the Quantum Kids had a story, a family waiting, a life interrupted. But now, they had a purpose. Sarang thought about her parents. They had never stopped searching for her, never gave up hope. Now, she was fighting back. Their psychological warfare was even more powerful than their technical abilities. They could enter alien communication systems, read their plans, understand their fears. The alien leadership began to panic. These weren't just children anymore. They were something else, something unexpected. "We are not your resources," Sarang would say when they infiltrated alien systems. "We are humanity's answer." More rescued children showed similar abilities. Not all as strong as the Quantum Kids, but changed, different, powerful. The aliens had made a critical mistake. They thought they could control children, break their spirits, use them as energy sources. Instead, they had created the very weapon that would destroy them. Sarang looked at her team. 12 children, 12 living weapons, each with a story, each with a reason to fight. The war was changing, and the Quantum Kids were leading the way. The Galactic Empire was falling apart. It started with small cracks, communication networks breaking down, supply lines collapsing, entire star systems beginning to rebel. Humanity wasn't just fighting. They were inspiring others. The Silicon Collective from the Proxima cluster was the first to openly revolt. They had lost their own children decades ago. Humanity's resistance gave them hope. Then came the Krelvax, an ancient civilization that had been silent for centuries. They joined the fight. Their technologies combined with human strategies created something unstoppable. The coral kingdoms of the Outer Rim followed. Then the Crystalline Confederacy. One by one, enslaved species realized they could fight back. Humanity had done something no one thought possible. They had shown the galaxy that resistance was not just a dream. It was a choice. Admiral Park Jun-ho stood on the command deck of the massive human flagship. Around him, a fleet of ships from different species worked together. This was more than a military operation. This was a revolution. The alien leadership was in chaos. Their carefully built empire was crumbling. They had never faced a species like humans before, a species that fought with technology, strategy, and pure determination. Intercepted communications revealed their panic. They didn't understand how humans could adapt so quickly, how they could turn their most powerful weapon, the enslaved children, into their greatest threat. "We're approaching the primary control system," a navigation officer reported. This was the heart of the Galactic Empire, a massive space station that controlled hundreds of star systems. It had never been successfully attacked. Until now. The attack was coordinated perfectly. Human ships, Krellvax battle cruisers, Silicon collective precision weapons. Each species brought something unique. Sarang and the Quantum Kids were at the center of the operation. Their minds connected to the station's systems. They could see everything, understand everything. Target acquired, Sarang said quietly. The station's defenses were advanced, designed to stop any possible attack. But they had never faced something like this, a combination of technological warfare and psychological disruption. Michael disabled their primary defense systems. Akiko jammed their communication channels. Diego translated and exploited their security protocols. Entire sections of the massive station went dark. No alarms, no warnings, just complete shutdown. Human and allied ships moved in. Each movement calculated, each action precise. The station's leadership tried to negotiate, tried to offer deals, tried to buy time. No one was listening anymore. For the children, Admiral Chunho said simply, the final assault began. Technological weapons unlike anything the galaxy had seen before tore through the station's defenses. Quantum disruption fields, neural network attacks. Technologies developed from the very experiments the aliens had used on human children. The irony was not lost on anyone. As the station began to break apart, something remarkable happened. Thousands of stasis chambers were discovered, children from dozens of different species, waiting to be rescued. This was more than a military victory. This was a rescue mission. The Galactic Empire's core was collapsing. Their control was ending. Their time was over. Humanity had not just fought back. They had changed the galaxy forever. 5 years after the war, the world looked different. Yoon Sarang stood on the balcony of the Interstellar Council headquarters. She was now 20 years old, but she looked older. The things she had seen, the things she had done, they changed a person. Around her, representatives from hundreds of different species worked together, something that would have been impossible before the war. The rescued children had become more than survivors. They were leaders, diplomats, scientists, healers. Michael, who could once disrupt electronic systems with his mind, now led a team developing communication technologies that helped isolated species connect. Akiko worked on translation systems that bridged gaps between civilizations. Diego had become a key diplomatic advisor, understanding languages and cultures like no one else. Sarang's role was different. She was the primary advisor on child protection. The Interstellar Child Protection Act was her creation. No species could ever again treat children as resources. The war had changed everything. Millions of children had been rescued, not just humans. Children from dozens of different species, each with their own story, each with their own journey of healing. Rehabilitation centers were everywhere, not just medical facilities, but places of learning, of understanding, of healing. Parents who had lost children were reunited. Some immediately, some took years to find each other, but the search never stopped. Earth had transformed, no longer just a small planet in a corner of the galaxy, now a leader, a protector. The technologies developed during the war continued to help. Medical breakthroughs, communication systems, energy technologies. Everything that was created to fight was now being used to help. The Quantum Kids, now young adults, were living proof of human resilience. They could have been victims. Instead, they became heroes. We're about to begin the annual memorial, a young assistant told Sarang. Every year, they remembered, not just the suffering, but the triumph, the day humanity stood up and said, no more. The memorial was different from traditional ceremonies. It wasn't about sadness. It was about hope, about healing, about moving forward. Children from rescued species would perform, share their stories, show that survival was possible, that hope was real. Sarang looked at the holographic display. Images of children from different species appeared. Humans, Krellvax, Silicon Collective members, Coral Kingdom descendants. Each face told a story of survival. The alien processing facilities were now museums, places of learning, reminders of what happened, but also symbols of how far they had come. "We're not just survivors," Sarang often told the young people she worked with. "We're builders. We're healers. We're the future." The Interstellar Council had one primary mission now: protect children. Ensure no species could ever again treat children as resources. Create systems of support, of understanding. Outside, a mixed group of children played. Human children, alien children. No one saw differences anymore. They just saw potential, hope. The galaxy had changed, and it all started with a simple idea: that children are not resources. They are the future. Sarang smiled. The war was over, but the real work was just beginning.